Hello everyone, this is Nidhi, your host for today. I hope each one of you are doing great and staying safe. Welcome to yet another session to help you hone your knowledge and do better in your professional life. Today we are discussing goal setting and everything related to the goals that we make for ourselves in our lives. As usual, today's event is brought to you by Designhill, world's leading creative marketplace that caters to the creative needs of businesses and individuals alike, who can source high quality designs from professional designers and buy unique products created by independent artists. So, look, moving ahead, let me introduce our speaker for today. We have had one event with this amazing speaker last month as well on time management, and here she is again with us. We have with us Sylvia Dalborgo. Sylvia spent more than 20 years in the manufacturing industry and has a background in economics. After this long corporate journey, she has now recently started her own training business. She now helps professionals become more efficient in their activities and more knowledgeable in wine. Sylvia, how do you feel to be here as of again?
Hi, Nidhi, and hi, everybody. It's so good to be here again with you and Designhill, and I'm very glad to be in this workshop today for a topic that I think is extremely important to everybody. And so, thank you for the opportunity of sharing it with you all.
Same here. It's an amazing feeling to be with you and to speak to you, to learn from you, Sylvia. So welcome again. So guys, before we start the session, we have a big announcement. We are giving away certificates. You all know the drill. The attendees who will stick till the end of the session will get the certificates in their email boxes. Please do not miss out on this chance. Stay tuned till the end. Also, you can take a screenshot of this event, put it on your Twitter, use hashtag Designhill Events, tag Designhill DH, and the time for wine, which is Sylvia's handle. Having said that, let's quickly look at what Designhill is all about.
Need to get your parents off your back? Head to the world's #1 creative marketplace, Designhill.
When I started my photography business, I needed something that said this was more than just a hobby. It's not a hobby, Mom. That's why I went to Designhill and got an amazing logo super fast at a price I could afford. The process was easy using Designhill's logo maker. Just enter the name of your business, then pick out a number of designs that inspire you. I'll pick this one and that one looks cute. Then pick your colors or let the system decide. Add some more info like a slogan, the industry your business is in, and your budget. The logo maker, using machine learning and artificial intelligence, will design thousands of logo variants that you can choose from and adapt. In fact, I was able to get everything from business cards to t-shirt design and complete social media kit, all with the click of a button. With that, I'm all set. Now everyone I meet knows I'm a legit photographer. Even my mom. It's real. That's decaf.
Let the world know it's real and build your brand with Designhill.
So that was all about Designhill, and we are set to start the session now. Guys, if you have anything that you would like to ask Sylvia, do put it under the questions tab. We will take up questions towards the end of the event, and we have also rolled out a few polls in the poll section. Do not forget to answer them as well. So Sylvia, let's begin the session. Over to you. You can share the presentation and get started, please.
Okay. Okay, can you see my presentation well?
Yes, I can see. Can everyone see? Can you please write a quick yes in the chat box if you can see the presentation well?
Okay, Sarah is saying yes, okay. Daniela as well. Okay, thank you guys.
Great.
So here we are, guys, talking about goals and how to reach our goals. But first of all, before we think about reaching them, we need to set them. Okay, so that's why we're talking about goal setting. And what is exactly goal setting? Goal setting is a process. So it's not just a moment. in our lives, and it's a process where we think, and when we force ourselves to define what it's important to us, what do we want to achieve in our lives, in the next future, or even in the far future. So it's something we will be doing over and over in our lives. Goal setting doesn't have an end, but it's good from time to time to define, set our goals, and then check on them to see where we are with respect to the targets we've set for ourselves. And most importantly, it's a time we need to spend and to focus on what we want to have more in our lives. And it's about our professional self and also our personal self. So what I want to say is that goal setting, it's something very personal, and that can be repeated several times during our lives. So today we will go through how to set our goals today, because if you don't have a clear idea, a clear picture of your goals now, you should go through this process and set your goals. And then the same process is something you can apply, let's say, in 3 years' time, or once a year, or in 5 years' time. But it's a very key moment when we really focus and define what's important to us and where we want to go. So goal setting is extremely important for many reasons, and I've listed here just 3 of them. The first one, and I think the most important one, is that this process helps us and basically forces us to think deep and define what we truly want out of life. Sometimes we know what we like, what we dislike, we think we know where we are heading, but it's extremely important, believe me, to have a moment when we define and write our goals down, when we take time to think about it and go into the details. And why it's so important? Because if we have our goals clear, then this is our direction, and we can get to our goals much faster. But what's more important is the direction, I think, because sometimes if we don't have clear ideas of what our goals are, we drift through life and maybe we go in the wrong direction. So first thing is to set the direction, and then having goals, clear goals, will also give you the speed, because you will be able to get there much faster. And then the last I mentioned here, but not the least, once you go through the process of setting your goals, this very process makes your goals most likely to achieve. And I think this is a reason for itself important enough to go all through this process. I put here a quote by Tony Robbins, which is a coach and motivator that I like very much. Setting goal is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. And that's the power of goal setting. This process really has a superpower, and on it alone, doing it alone, you are already closer to your goals. I see that someone is liking Tony Robbins. Sarah is saying she likes it. Yeah, I do as well. He has a great energy. And about goals, he's very, very right, I think. Having goals can make goals become closer and extremely more reachable. So sometimes we don't have clear goals in all aspects of our lives. Sometimes we don't have goals at all. A dear friend of mine, like a few days ago, a week ago or so, told me, you know, Sylvia, in this moment, I don't have clear idea of where I want to go in my life. I don't have a clear target. It's not clear to me. And then I started thinking that I think we've all been there. It's something that happens to all of us from time to time, where we're not very sure if we are going in the right direction, or if the goals we had are the same goals. And this is fine. This is fine because goals change sometimes from time to time in life. And sometimes we can live moments of our lives where we don't have a clear idea of where we want to go. So what we are going to go through now, it's a process that can help you to have your goals. And if you're living one of those moments, you can go through this process and use the tools that will help you, but also don't be too stressed out about the fact that you don't have a clear goal at the moment, because it will come to you. And the fact that you are here following this webinar, it shows that you are interested in goals. So if you don't have clear goals right now, don't worry too much about it, and let things flow. You will have a clearer picture later on in a different moment. Now probably it's just time to let things flow. So the first thing about the first step about setting goals is taking a piece of paper. And it's important that we take a piece of paper. So don't do it on the PC, don't do it on your smartphone. Take an actual piece of paper with a pencil, a pen, sit at your desk, and think about what you think are your goals. There are many types of goals. You can have short-term goals, you can have long-term goals, you can have professional goals, personal goals, relationship goals, career goals, financial, many type of goals. So at this stage, don't worry too much about categorizing your goals, and just start writing down in a very quick way. Don't overthink, don't think too much about it, and think about what you want to have in your life. So maybe objects. You want to have a nice car, you want to have maybe a bigger house, or maybe you're not interested in having things and you want to do things. You want to travel to Australia, let's say. Right now I want to travel to Australia, or maybe you want to complete your degree, your master. That's fine. Write it down, and don't think about it too much. Or maybe you want, it's not about the things you want to have or you want to do, but it's about the things you want to be. So you want to become, say, an expert about finance or accounting. Write it down. So ideally there should be a nice mix of things you want to have, you want to do, and things that you want to become or to be. And that's fine. Just go through this list, make it long, short, up to you. Just go through it and write it down on a piece of paper. So once you've done that, you will do it later when you're quiet and nobody is talking in your ear. Once you've done that, this list needs a bit of more work to become a list of goal and to complete your goal setting process. So now we're going to look at a model that has been developed in the 1980s, and it's quite widespread, and it's a model I like. It's called the SMART model. Some don't like it, but I think it's a very good starting point, and it gives you clarity. So I'm going to share with you this model. This model says that your goals, our goals, should be SMART, and each letter has a specific meaning. So S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for achievable, R stands for realistic. The model says realistic. I prefer to use the word relevant, and T stands for time bound. Okay. So what we do with this model is that we take the piece of paper we've written before with all our list of goals, and for each of the lines we've written, we go through it, and then we refine this goal, making sure that it's specific. So the more detailed you are when you write your goals, the better, because it helps you to have a visual image of your goal and to define very carefully what you really want. It forces you to ask yourself, okay, I want a bigger house, but how big? And then where I want it. Do I want 5 rooms, 3 rooms, 2 bathrooms? So be very specific and go through your list and try to put as many details as you can, thinking of what you really meant when you were thinking about that goal. Then goals have to be measurable. So you need to find a way to measure your goal. Like if you want to learn Japanese, let's say, a way to measure it is to attain your A1 certificate or your B2 certificate. So find a way to measure the progress towards your goal. And then we have the A for achievable. When we set our goals, we have to think big, because we can desire things that are maybe far in our lives, in the far future, but still achievable. So this is not about having small goals. It's about setting goals that we know we could reach sooner or later. So we don't want to set goals that discourage us from pursuing them. So achievable means set goals that maybe are big goals, but don't put them out of your reach limit, because that would not help you to reach them. It would just put you down. Okay. So the R instead of SMART goals means realistic, but I think this is about more or less the same as achievable. So I prefer the word relevant for this model, because our goals have to be relevant to us. So if everybody is wanting a faster car, a nicer car, That doesn't have to be our goal in any case. I mean, we need to really work out what's important to us and to us only. Relevant means that we have to focus and specifically design goals that eventually will make us happier in our future. Okay, so think about the relevance of your goals and what are goals and achievements that will make you happier. And then goals have to be time bound. So you have to put a label on your goals and define when's the deadline you think these goals should have. And to do this properly, you should put your deadline and then work backwards to see the steps you have to carry to reach your goal by that deadline. Okay, so if you want to become a financial advisor, or if you want to speak perfectly Japanese by the end of next year or by the end of 2023, what should I do? And then work out the steps by when you should do, let's say, your A1 certificate for Japanese, your B1 certificate for Japanese, and then, so this way also helps you to define a deadline that's reasonable, because if you realize that your deadline it's not achievable, then you should postpone the deadline, because we want to have clear goals, we want to have a time frame, but we want not to be frustrated about goals. We want to be stimulated to reach them. So if you set a deadline, be careful and work backwards to see that the deadline is something that's really feasible for you. Otherwise, put a deadline a bit further away, so it gives you more time to reach your goals. Okay, and when you refine your list, your piece of paper with the goals you've written before, use these specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and relevant and time-bound characteristic to define, and build sentences that have I as a pronoun. So I am going to learn Japanese by the end of next year. Okay, so use the word I, use a verb. There will have to be an action, okay, which has you as the subject. And it's important that you word the sentence in a positive way. So just saying I want to spend less time on the smartphone is not a good goal, because when we say less and when we work in a negative way, I want to lose weight, I want, our brain doesn't really understand that we want to do something less. It understands only the word smartphone, mobile phone, social media, or weight. So we should word or reword our sentences in a positive way. So to say, to give you an example, instead of saying I want to spend less time on social medias, you could, for instance, reword and say, I want to spend, out of the 3 hours I usually spend on social media, I now want to spend 1 with my family and 1 exercising. So reword the sentences you may have spelled out in a negative way, in this way, using a positive way to do that. So this is a bit of work, I know, but it's very important, and it's very powerful. Later on, take your time. It will take you maybe 1 hour or even less. Go through your list and refine all your sentences using the SMART model we've shared here, and using the pronoun I, the verb, and positively worded sentences. And later on, I will share you a link to download this presentation, and also there's a workbook for you. So don't worry about taking notes, because you will have it later on, together with a workbook that will help you to bring your goals further on. So this was SMART model. I think maybe, Nidhi, it's good time for our break, if you agree.
Absolutely, I was about to say that only.
Okay.
That is, yes. So I'm sure everyone is enjoying this insightful session. Stay tuned. We will be back for questions and the rest of the presentation in a while. Let's take a quick break.
Claremax is a full-service video agency based around video production. We created a brand that fit our identity at the time, but as we've evolved as a company, we found that that original brand didn't quite fit our aspirations anymore. Finding a partner to rebrand your entire company takes a lot of time and effort. Finding Designhill was an incredible lifeline. Designhill offers a money-back guarantee. If we don't like any of the designs, we get all of our money back. The stuff that we ended up with were well beyond what we had been seeing on other creative services platforms. After creating a simple design brief by answering some questions created by Designhill, we posted, and within a few days, we had over 250 entries. Designhill's platform made it easy to communicate with all of the potential designers. Eventually, we picked a winner. In addition to a logo, our designer also created a letterhead, business cards, and banners for all of our social media platforms. With Designhill's help, we now have a brand that meets our aspirations. We're ready for the future and everything that it's here to bring.
All right, we are back with our awesome guest, Sylvia. Sylvia, could you please share the presentation again? Let's finish the presentation first, and then we'll move on to the questions part.
Okay. Okay. So, one of the tools I would like to share with you about goal setting is a very visual one. It's making a visual board of your goals. So once you've gone through your list and then you have refined it in your SMART goals, you can now, for instance, cut out pictures from magazines, photos you've taken yourselves, drawings, and make a nice visual board with images that inspire you towards your goals. And I think this is a very, very powerful exercise, because our minds are tuned to images in a very powerful way. So create your board. It's a fun process to create your visual board of goals. So it will take some time, because sometimes you don't find the right pictures or the right one that satisfies and that are, let's say, coherent with your goal. But nevertheless, it's fun. Use pictures, be creative, use colors, use a cork board to pin your pictures. Create one and then put it in a place so you can see it every day. And then just having it in front of you, it will help. Put it in a place where you are sure you will have to look at it. And then if you can, it's very important if you could focus 1 minute a day on your goals. And that, believe me, will help you to get closer to your goal and eventually reach them. Preparing this presentation for you, I went through the list I made 1 year ago about my goals, and I was going through it, and the fact that I fixed the goals, that I set the goals with clarity at that time, really helped me to reach some of them. I've not reached them all. Some are in the future, but I see that I've made steps towards them since last year. So some I've achieved, some I'm closer today than I was 1 year ago. And I think that most of the process starts with really having a clear idea, and visualization helps you get to that point. So visual board is a nice thing to do, and I strongly recommend to do it because it's fun as well and very, very powerful. So this was about goals and setting our goals. Now I want to share with you another model that is the consequence or the next step after you've set your goals, because we want to have goals, but then we want to reach them, right? So we've seen the first point, G stands for goal. This model is called grow model, and the second step is reality, and says that we should have our goals, and we have it, and then we should understand where we stand, where we are with respect to our goals. Later, as I mentioned, I will share a link to download a workbook that will help you to see where you stand with respect to your goals. So later on, download it, and then you can do the exercise and go through it. And it's a nice, simple, and again, powerful way to have a clear picture of where we stand and what are the obstacles that are in between us and our goals. This model then says that we should focus on, as I said, obstacles, and then the options we have to reach our goals. And the W stands for way forward. So we need to work out a plan for our goals. We need to see where we are, to see what's in between our goals and us, to think about the options we have to remove each of the obstacles, and then we should make a plan. For instance, say I wanted to, again, learn Japanese, and the reality is that today I don't know any Japanese. So the obstacles is that I have to find probably the time to learn Japanese. I have to find a school. I have to find a course, probably the resources, the financial resources to learn Japanese. And then for each of these points, you have some options. So you could study in the morning, you could study in the car while you're driving to work. You could study at night, and then you could have an online course, you could have a course at the school, the language school, from your previous courses. So you evaluate the obstacles and you evaluate the options you have, and then you make a decision, and in the way forward step you make a plan on how you're going to reach your goal. So this is, as I said, the natural step after you've set your goals. Don't try to jump to the end. So I recommend to go through your goals first, refine them, and then do the exercise in the workbook about reality. And then you can work on your obstacles, options, and make a plan to move forward and get closer and eventually reach your goals. Okay, so this was the GROW model I wanted to share with you. And I would like to just wrap up now a bit some thoughts that I would like you to take with you after this session. So if you are not going to do all the processes or not to use all the tools, visual board, the workbook, refining goals, I can understand that, but if you have enrolled and registered to this webinar, please at least do the first part, take a piece of paper and write down your list of goals, and if possible, refine it. And if not, okay, just do the list and stick it somewhere you can see it, because it's important you take time, you spend time to think of what's most important to you, and you keep thinking every day and tuning in to that frequency. And then don't worry too much if you are living in a moment where goals are not so clear for you, because it can happen. So it's not really something it's not really so rare. So don't worry about it too much. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the flow, and life will take you somewhere, and there will be a moment when goals will be clearer to you. The tools we've discussed can be a help in the right moment. If that's not the moment, then maybe do it in a week or in 2 weeks' time. It's not always the right moment for goal setting, and I understand that. Then I would like to say to you that not always we are able to reach our goals, and it's not a tragedy, because sometimes we reach some of them, sometimes we partially reach a goal, but that's very fine, because the very process of setting goals is going to make you closer to your goal and make them much more likely to be achieved. If we don't reach all of our goals, it's not a problem. Our goals are already taking us towards a further target, a further goal. So don't worry too much. Don't try to overachieve, and don't let goals be the masters. So sometimes we even decide that a goal we had set for ourselves, it's not that important for us anymore, because something has changed in our lives, and that's completely fine. So don't worry too much about it. And what's most important, I think, is that we always try to become the best version of ourselves. So goals helps us improve in the areas that are important to us, and that's the most important things. And trust me, you will be able to achieve much more if you set your goals. The only thing I want to say is don't worry too much if you don't reach them all, or if you sometimes reach partially some of them, because it's completely fine, as long as I said, we always try to be better and better every day and move towards our best self, our better and best version of ourselves. So with this, I conclude this talk, and I thank you very much for your attention, for being here with me. I've seen that you are following from very different places in the world, and this is always amazing. I leave my contacts here, and you have seen probably a way to connect with me. I'm always very happy to connect with you over LinkedIn, or if you want to follow me and visit my website or contact me anyway. And don't forget to download your workbook later on with the link that Designhill is providing. I think it has been shared already.
Yes, it has already been shared by my colleague Shambhavi. I'd request her to do it once more for everyone's
Okay.
benefit. Right. Okay, and it's such an insightful session, Sylvia. We have a few questions, not many, and I have a few questions of my own. So I'll start with my own. So, okay. So let's just remove the presentation and let's focus on you now. 1 second.
You okay?
Yes. So Shambhavi, my colleague, has shared the a link of Sylvia's workbook, and it must be on your all screens as a pop-up. So please click on it and make the best use out of it. Great. So all right. So we'll maximize your screen. All right. So my personal question for this session was that it's often that we uh, relate goals with age. Like there's this a mentality that by 20, 21 years you should be a graduate, and that by 23 you should be done with your masters, and then by 25 you should have a good salary. You should be working. So is it for real? Is it for real that this upbringing or this thought process that we have had for over years, does it make any sense? Is there a certain is there a specific age for what you call goals? Or so for example, if I want to start a graduation course now when I'm 31 years old, can I do it? Of course I can. So I wanted to throw light on the aspect of the relatability of age with goal setting.
Yeah, I think that we are only too old for goals if we feel we are, but it's never too late to do anything. Goals are about what makes us happy, what makes us happier, and what makes us live our lives at the fullest. So if that means enrolling for a degree, for a new master, or following a new course of study, or anything like that, I think there is no right age to do that. There are common times to do that. So most of us do it when we are 18, 20, 25. But then I know, that I teach time management and
Right.
wine service. When I took my course about wine, becoming a sommelier and serving wine, a fellow student with me, she was 70. She was 70 and decided to take this course, and she did it, and it took us 3 years. So she went through all of it, and I don't think she's going to use it as a profession in her life, but that was making her happy, and she was determined. She set that goal, and she reached it, and that was fine, because that was her purpose, and that meant to her that she could be happier and live a fuller life. So goals are not really related to age, and age is a limit that we set ourselves. So if we set a limit, if we think that we are too old, then we are too old. If we think that it's fine and we can do it, then we can do it. It's like this.
Absolutely, and they rightly say that age is just a number.
Yeah, it is. It is. It doesn't say much of us.
All right. Moving on to the questions tab, we have a few questions, and most of which have already been answered in your presentation. Let's take a few questions from here. Nadira asks, what kind of goal setting is best for success, monthly or weekly?
Month or weekly?
Monthly or weekly?
Okay, I would say that it's good to have some long shot goals. So probably set your goals in a year time, or also 3 year time, and then break down your goals into monthly goals, going towards the steps you have to go through to reach your goals. Then the closer you become to your daily basis, they are not anymore, let's say, goals, but they are steps, jobs to do, tasks we have to perform in our day-to-day life. So weekly is good, but then we also have to have a daily focus on our tasks. And what we do is that we make sure that we are coherent with the actions that we are performing today, and we make sure that we are doing today and what we are doing next week, it's making us, is getting us closer to the final goal. So we always have to refer to that final goal or the further goal, and to evaluate our actions on a weekly basis, but also on a daily basis, to see if our subtask of our job to do list is really getting us closer to that point, because this is what we want. We want to achieve that big goal, and we are chunking it into small pieces and bits, and through our plan we are achieving it step by step.
Right, absolutely. So let's take the last question for the event, which is by Dali. What are the key elements that must be prioritized in goal settings? So you have spoken about a lot. You have spoken a lot about goal setting, but what would be the key factors while setting a goal for yourself that should not be compromised on at all?
We really think, I think we really should think of something that is relevant to us. Relevance, I think it's the key point. We need to focus on what is making us happier, and what do we want, what do we want to have more in our lives. We want to have more family, we want to have more professional success. What is really relevant to us? What do we want to, and we have to make a decision. For instance, there is often a balance we have to seek between professional life and personal life, and this is fine, and one does not exclude the other. So from there are different periods periods in our lives. So we always have to think our life as a whole, and then maybe decide if we want to focus more for a period on personal goals, family, relationship, friends, personal development, or we want to focus more on our career path, our job, our work life. And the two of them should balance. We cannot have them to the fullest in the very same moment, but we can go with one at first, and then move to the other, and focus on the other for a couple of years, and then move back to the professional life, and so it's a balance we have to seek, and always keeping in mind what's relevant to us, what we want to have more in our lives, and to make that decision very clearly.
All right. Great. So this was supposed to be the last question, but there's another question by Daniela. Could you give an example of a SMART goal?
A SMART goal. Well, SMART is the acronym. So a SMART goal is a goal that is very specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bounded. So, for instance, let's say I want to have a new house. So I want to have a new house, and I want it to be by the sea, and I want to have it with a big garden, and a 2-story house with 2 bathrooms and 3 bedrooms. And then I imagine my fireplace set there, and with a nice couch, and a very big kitchen with big windows with light, lots of light coming in. Okay, so that's very specific. I want this house, and I want to picture it in a very specific way. Measurable, for instance, means that I have to know where I am with respect to this house that I want to have. So what do I need to have this house? I will need to have finance. I will need to have the money to buy it. So where I am now, let's say the house is about 100K. Maybe now I only have 20K. So I need to measure the amount of money that are separating me from the house. But also I need to find, I need to measure the time that is needed for me to buy a house, the requirements I need to have. Will the bank give me a loan if I have a job, or if I don't? So find a way to measure how far you are from your goal. And in this case, the goal is buying your dream house. And then we have achievable. So this is an achievable goal. Yes, it is. And you list here the obstacles that are in between you and your dream. And then one by one, you remove them. So, okay, this is achievable. Relevant. Yes, this is relevant to me because I really want to have a house of my own, and I want to have my dream house, and I picture it in my mind like that. And then time bound. I want to have my goal is to have it by the end of 2023. So I would say I want to have my dream house by the end of 2023, and that is my SMART goal, and it follows all the feature of a SMART goal. And then I have to work a plan to get there. So I have to go through the GROW model we've seen before and make a plan to reach the final end.
Great, amazing. So I hope, and I'm sure that answers your question, Daniela. And with that question, we have actually, we are actually at the end of the session. It was indeed a value-packed session. There's a lot more that we could have learned. Unfortunately, we are limited by time here. I hope and I know that you guys loved this session because I personally did. Once again, I would like to thank Sylvia for taking out time to be a part of this event. Sylvia, please share your last thoughts.
Thank you so much again for being with me, and to Designhill for hosting this webinar. Goal setting is a very dear subject to me, so thanks again. I hope you enjoyed it and that you found it useful. So I really recommend you set your goals, download the workbook and do the exercise, and keep thinking about your goals, but because that will make you much closer to them, and will make them much more likely to happen.
Right, it's a pleasure to have you here with us, Sylvia. All right, guys, this is not very tense. We have a lot more events lined up for you in the coming days. So if you guys are interested, haven't registered yet, I'm sharing the link of our events page in the chat box. You can subscribe to the events page and stay updated for all our upcoming events. Also, do check out the Learn page to feed your inspiration and creativity. Multiply your business and creative growth 10 times by learning tips, hacks, growth stories, expert advice from the industry's best. Visit Designer Learn page and don't forget to subscribe. We have a YouTube channel that we are constantly working hard on for you guys to make the best use out of it. Shambhavi works on it and she is, working really hard on it. So please, for all our past recordings, do watch our YouTube channel. The link of which she will be sharing in the chat box once again. On that note, I would like to say bye to everyone who joined us here today. Take care, guys, and stay safe.